Hello, this is my review for 1982's The Thing, starring Kurt Russell, directed by John Carpenter. I'm going to start by talking about, I'm just going to mention just off the top of my head, since I've got it written down here, the characters. I'm going to mention the main characters. I don't know all of the actors with the exception of Kurt Russell. I don't know any of them actually, apart from Kurt Russell. McCready, Childs, Blair, Clark, Palmer, Bennings, Windows, Fuchs, Doc, Copper, Gary, Norris, Knowles, and then the two Norwegian guys at the start of the film who are chasing the dog. Right, I want to talk about the fact that I've watched this film a couple dozen times, and to me, it's one of those brilliant, amazing, fantastic science fiction films where it's got that repeat view and rewatchability. You can rewatch it again and again and again, and it's got something to it. A part of me is trying to think exactly what it is that makes this film, why this film feels distinct compared to so many other films in a way. And I suppose maybe this is it. It's the fact that it's so simple. In a sense, it is so simple. It's not like there's an alien invasion being plotted on another planet where like you've got to send explorers to go into that planet to hide and to secretly discover what's going on, and then there's like an army, and then there's like 5 other armies on their way, and then you need to figure out where they're all coming from and how this is all going to play out and what your strategy is going to be. It's not that. It's just a film about, it is a survival film. It is a film about survival. And to me, it's like, I'm going to mention like some of the main moments in the film that I've written down here, right? Alien ship travels to Earth. We see that before the title emerges. The Norwegians are shooting. Norwegians shoot Bennings in the leg. The McCready's playing chess against the computer. McCready pours his drink inside the computer when he loses. Ends up just saying screw it. Just pours his whiskey into the computer. It goes up in flames. It breaks the computer. It destroys it in a sense. Liquids do that to computers, of course. Then you've got the Norwegians, and the Norwegians get shot after they shoot Bennings. They're trying to shoot the dog. Mac and Copper go to the Norwegian base. I think also Bennings does also go with them, if I'm correct, or is it Blair? I think it's Blair. I think it is Blair that goes with them to the Norwegian base, and Mac thinks it's the Swedes. He keeps saying, "Oh, we'll help. Why you so? You really want to help those Swedes?" And keeps getting told they're Norwegian. You get the discovering of the Thing corpse, in which they're on the Norwegian base, and you see like the man with like his wrist slit and his throat, and then they come across like the corpse, and they bring that back to the base, and the dog bites Bennings. Clark puts the dog with the Siberian Huskies, and then the Thing reveals itself, and there's like. And it's just that amazing. It's just something that I've not written down here, but because you don't even really need to bring it up. You don't even need to write it, because you instantly think of it once you think of the Thing. The practical effects. I mean, just that scene when the dog gets put in the kennel with the Siberian Huskies, and then it like the face opens, and then like the liquid gets shot out, and the dog absorbs other animals in a way, and then Child shows up and he burns it. And then Blair gives his imitation explanation. I think it was Gary that actually went to the Norwegian base. Blair's get them mixed up. Blair's the one that ends up getting put in the shack after he has the mental breakdown. You've got Blair giving his imitation explanation. And to me, I've written down here like main themes, like alien invasion. That's something that we've thought about in our world for centuries, and it's become obviously much more popular since the 1950s in sci-fi and. Going to like Forbidden Planet, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Ridley Scott's Alien. What other great ones? I suppose you could say 2001: A Space Odyssey being like an alien encounter film. There's a bunch that I'm forgetting here. E.T. came out the same year as this film. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. A bunch of other alien invasion films that are just a simple concept. Ties in with like the simplicity of the survival situation. Then you've got the fact that the alien isn't like some huge army. It's not like it's Independence Day. It's just an organism that replicates other organisms. Mystique, in a sense. Mystique from the X-Men. It just imitates sees a life form, it replicates that life form. You know what I mean? And this then feeds into the fact that the crew doesn't know who to trust. And like you've got like in a sense like each person being like taken out in a way you might say it. Like if I'm trying to remember the exact order in which each and every person ends up being taken over or killed. You know, McCready ends up killing. McCready kills Clark. McCready and then Copper. I think I'm trying to think how is it exactly. I think Copper dies when Norris goes on the surgeon's table and he puts his hands through it, and then his arms get ripped off, get like bitten in a sense. And there was that great moment when Norris's like head becomes like a spider. That was just fantastic. That was just brilliant. And you see forget some of the names. That's why I wrote some of the names down. You see Windows, Windows Palmer. Palmer turns around and he's like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me. It's just, this thing isn't going to die." It's this feeling of you're up against an unstoppable force. They're not just fighting each other. They're not just afraid of who exactly is they can trust. And it's not just that they're battling the elements, being out in either the Arctic or Antarctica. I think it's Antarctica where the film is set. They filmed it in Alaska mostly, if I remember reading correctly. It's this feeling of an unstoppable enemy. And this is the other thing that also, in a sense, becomes an enemy within. It's not just that they don't trust each other and they're doing that blood test to see who's the imposter, who is it that's actually against them, who's snuck into the base. McCready, in a sense, becomes a quasi-dictator in that he's I mean, like McCready is, in a sense, he's got the flamethrower, he's got the dynamite, and he's got the handgun, and he shoots Clark. And he's giving out orders, and it's not like you're getting a vote here. It's not like, oh, what does everybody else think? McCready's taking full control of the situation, and he's telling people tie each other up, and then he's letting people become part of his inner circle in a way. And like he sees that that Windows is, once he puts the metal rod into his blood, Windows is fine, Knowles is fine. Windows ends up getting killed by Palmer when he gets revealed to be the thing. Norris and Childs are fine, so they become part of his, like, they're accepted by McCready. McCready lets them be, like, they're not the enemy, so they're with him. Just seconds beforehand, he was threatening to shoot Childs, and then just after it gets revealed that Clark was still human, and Childs says to McCready, "I guess that makes you a murderer then, doesn't it?" It's like there's an antagonism between them there, but then once he gets accepted and realizes he's not the enemy within, he's accepted by McCready and he becomes part of his accepted gang, if you will. I love the scene. I want to talk about the scene where Bennings, like, he becomes the thing. He gets Windows walks in on him being, like, absorbed, if you want to use that word. And then you see him out in the snow and he's got, like, extra hand and he makes that creepy noise, and it's just brilliant. That was, once again, fantastic practical effects, excellent makeup design, and like the additional, like, body parts, however you choose to phrase it. Give me a second here, just need to fix my TV. What else have I forgotten? See, I could do a second part to this video because I feel like there's a lot to talk about. I've just written down some of the brief starting points, and like each character ends up getting taken over. Blair has the mental breakdown. He gets put in the shack. He gets put in McCready's shack. McCready, Windows, and I think Knowles go up to Mac's shack, but then they like leave Mac there. Then Mac breaks back in. And he's got the stick of dynamite, and then Norris ends up needing to get operated on because he gets knocked over, and he has like his heart stops working or something like that, or he just gets badly damaged on the head, and he goes into like a cardiac arrest or something like that. And that's before, of course, when Doc puts his hands in him and he bites his hands off. Right, I've covered Childs, Blair, Clark, Palmer, Bennings, Windows, Fuchs. He in a sense, I'm pretty sure it's Palmer that takes him, like, walks past the camera when Fuchs is trying to work on like some lab assignment, trying to figure out basically a way to maybe detect the thing. Fuchs ends up going out into the open and he gets taken. Gary is the one. Gary gets absorbed at the end by Blair at the end, with like the hand going up to the face, and then it like becomes part of him. Then you've got Knowles, who like, if I'm correct, he's with McCready at the end, but then he gets taken. And then the two Norwegian guys get killed. I'm pretty sure they can't contact anybody. They're trying, like, you see, it's Blair that goes up to Windows to try and get a hold of somebody. We've got to report this mess. Can't get signal with anybody. You see, like, them go into the ship. You see that big rectangle in the ice that, like, Max freaked out by, which is like, what the hell is this? And then, of course, at the end of the film, it's MacReady and Childs, and it's this question of, like, is MacReady the Thing? Is Childs the Thing? Who's... then, like, Childs approaches MacReady when he's, like, completely worn out. He's on the ground. His building's exploded. He's, like, almost freezing to death at the same time as if he's just came in close contact with fire. Just kind of goes back to the thing I said about battling the elements. You've got... And they just battle, like, they're battling the Thing, they're battling the elements, they're battling each other, don't know who to trust. It's just like, it's a beautiful contrast. It's a sudden contrast to, like, the fact that at the start of the film, when you see Mac using the computer just playing a game, and then you see everybody in the recreational room playing ping pong, chilling, reading, talking, watching TV, whatever. And then just days later, you've got people turning on each other, screaming at each other, not knowing who to trust. Mac's putting a gun up to Child's head, shoots Blair. You've got a sense of, like, what's, like, when you see, like, Fuchs working on the lab assignment, then you see Palmer. It is Palmer that walks past. It's like, who was that? Who's the intruder? Who can I trust here? The lights have gone off. Was that the elements that did it, or was that intentional by another man within the building? And it's this feeling of just like these themes, like you're on edge when you're watching it, and it's this atmosphere of claustrophobia, in a sense, and it's just brilliant film. And at the end, it's MacReady and Childs. They're worn out. You can see how tired they look, how exhausted they are. Raging inferno to the right, they're freezing cold. You can see Mac's breath, how cold it must be, and when the Arctic or Antarctica, it's obviously what it would be like. And then it's like, it's this feeling of, like, is Mac the Thing? Is Child the Thing? And then Child's, I think the exact wording that Child says is, how long till somebody finds us, or will we freeze to death? And then Mac says, maybe we should. And then they just pass the whiskey, and it sort of comes back full circle with MacReady, whiskey, and then he gets annoyed and upset with the computer, and he just pours his whiskey into it, and he destroys what's in front of him. And I suppose you could maybe say that was an act of foreshadowing, and that he destroys the entire base. He destroys the entire base in an attempt to destroy the Thing, and then it's just him and Childs, and it's like, is he who is the Thing truly destroyed? Child says, he thought he saw Blair. It's that thing of, like, is he telling the truth? Is he just saying that? Is he lying to him? And then there's also the aspect of, like, Norris was given the chance by Blair when Windows has that little mini breakdown. Blair offers Norris the gun, and Norris refuses it. So it obviously doesn't corrupt you completely, but then Norris gets found out to have been corrupted, and that's obviously foreshadowed at the start when the dog is walking around the building, and I'm pretty sure the dog does go up to Norris and bites him. It doesn't just bite Bennings, it bites him, because I think he's sitting alone in his room. And so it's like, even if you are the Thing, you don't fully know it. Palmer didn't know it until he gets the metal rod that's, like, really warm to his blood, and then he reveals himself. Great practical effects there again. Well, forgive me for sounding like a broken record here. But you end up with Blair, and you end up with MacReady and Childs at the end, and it sort of does go full circle in that Mac and Childs are the last two guys there, and at the start of the film, it's the two guys chasing the dog. And so it's like their building was destroyed, and then they two are the last two survivors, and you've got the end of The Thing, 1982. MacReady and Childs are the last two guys. I just want to say, I think it's a great film. I think it is a fantastic film. I'm going to rewatch it again. I can see myself rewatching it. I've rewatched it a few times lately. I've got the intention. I'll be happy to rewatch it. There's probably a few things I've missed. You could probably talk about a few different things. How maybe The Thing is a metaphor, perhaps, for times of disease. I heard somebody try and make a comparison with, like, coronavirus a few years ago. You didn't know who had it, and suddenly your neighbours were potentially not an enemy, but were potentially dangerous, if you know what I'm saying. And it was like, maybe that's the same for, like, bubonic plague or the Spanish flu or any of the other major diseases that have happened throughout human history, of, like, people you thought you could trust and you're happy to be around. Suddenly you're looking at them with, like, a bit of apprehension that wasn't there just days before. And I think this film, to me, just the use of practical effects, I'm not one of those guys that complains automatically outright with CGI, but I'm just gonna say this. This is the only thing I'm gonna say about the CGI, and the only thing I'm gonna say about The Thing from 2011 with Joel Edgerton. The CGI there was atrocious. It was just absolutely awful, god awful CGI. And to me, this film, just the practical effects were brilliant. The atmosphere was brilliant. The soundtrack was fantastic. The acting by Kurt Russell was excellent. The pacing, the set design, the costume design, the makeup department did an excellent job. The way the film starts, the way the film finishes, the direction by John Carpenter. Excellent science fiction film. I'm just going to end it there. I'm going to end it there and say this was a great film. I'm definitely going to rewatch. Might even do another review talking about something that I feel like I've missed, but fantastic film. Thanks for watching.